Hey everybody, I am back again. Tonight we will be once again playing Vampire the Masquerade. Coteries of Hope you have a fun time like I will. Let's get in the game. Done that. Very excited to try this again. Only get to play for a little while tonight. See how we do. Alright. Wonderful. So we left off after talking with a few people in my new coterie and setting things up. I want to follow up with the person that was part of the what's the name? Gangrel, that's right. By tapping on the window, a small grayish bird flying off a small piece of paper left on the windowsill. Prospect ASAP. We still have the Malkavian that we can look up. We're following the invitation we got from the Cathedral of St. John the Divine, which is troubling because St. John the Divine people are usually trouble. So we shall see. Piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. It's a computer printout and a note and a screenshot from group maps. Give me one moment. There we go. Just gotta close up something quick. Check one thing, make sure. Much better. Piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. A computer printout, a note, and a screenshot from maps. It reads, "Meet me at the indicated spot tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'll pick you up and we'll take it from there." No signature. Place marked on the map is the lookout point near Pier 1, just next to the booking. Check the phone that Mia passed on to you. No new messages, no missed calls. It's all a bit fishy. There's only one way to find out who's addressed. Looks like tomorrow evening has been planned out for you. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Welcome to the stream, everybody. I am Toleron20, your humble storyteller, and we will continue to be playing Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of the Hunger Calls to You. You find yourself among the tall buildings and the sprawling streets of New York City and can't help but think of how rotten it is. Worst thing, part of the system. Suddenly, Sophie's patronage is revealed, and you see it for what it is: indentured servitude. She has control over your life now, and there's no good reason for it. People you pass on the street look so smug. They think they're better than you. They're out to use you, exploit you, hurt you. This might be a little bit of my Bruja blood trying to speak for me. Feel the need to assault anything with the pulse and drink deep from their lifeblood. Yep, run in hot temper. You compose yourself, your rational mind fearing a blatant breach of the Masquerade's temporary hold over the beast and its composure. It won't last unless you feed. You need to quench this hunger before it overtakes you and makes you lose control. Well, that's fun. The hunger calls to you. Well, it seems. Rest, because there we go. You find yourself among the tall buildings. Yeah, I went through all this already. Weird. Okay. Well, that was strange. It seemed to be catching itself in a loop. Yeah, weird. All right, well, better follow up with. As you open the blinds, you're able to spot a small grayish bird flying off into the night. Looking down, you notice a small piece of paper on the windowsill. It's prospect ASAP. Damn. Third time's the charm, you think to yourself as you once again cross the gate of Prospect Park and head for Tamika's haven. To your surprise, you find her out in the open, sitting on the lawn, surrounded by a host of woodland creatures, birds and squirrels most. The creatures each patiently await their turn as she flicks seeds at them. Looks almost whimsical in a twisted sort of way. Hell of a week, huh? How are you holding up? Well enough, all things considered. Scatters the remaining seeds onto the grass and hops to her feet. I've been doing some digging. The Inquisition has a safe house up in Manhattan. I think that's where they're keeping him. The scarred one, I mean. As we found out last time, we saw a vampire who was in sale, or Rotschreck, as it's known. It's when they fully succumb. I want to pay them a visit, kill that thing and as many of those SI bastards as I can along the way. Attacking a government safe house? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't that be considered a breach of the Masquerade? Yeah, and that's the least of our worries. Throw in a legion of armed goons standing in our way and an all-powerful vampire as the cherry on top. Look, I'm not stupid. I know it's risky as hell, and I'm well aware I might not be coming back. Still, it's something I have to do, with or without your help. Oh, what the hell? Who wants to live forever, right? I'm in. And that's who I was expecting. Me too. He emerges from the shadows a mere few feet away from you. Son of a gun finally manages to sneak up on you. Temika eyeballs him as he gets closer. You've seen that look before. She's clearly asserting her position, but this time it comes off as a formality rather than a challenge. How long have you been there, Raoul? Long enough. Still not buying that whole scarred one. Oh crap. But taking a bite out of the Inquisition's collective ass is just too good to pass up. I want in. Call it the Scarred One Santa or the Tooth Fairy. Just know that it's very real and very. Ugh, fine. Consider me fairly warned. Now, can we move this along? I'm itching to kill me some SI fucks. Tamika, you got an opinion? Yeah, I guess I know who the alpha around. He should come with us. He's got the right to be here to see the Scarred One with his own eyes. Plus, my brother can be a pain in the ass, but he's one hell of a fighter. There you go, Tam seal of approval. It's settled then. Let's go. Fucking finally. With that, you leave the relative safety of Prospect Park, steeling yourself for things dumb. What am I getting myself into? Getting myself close to final death, probably. As you get closer to your destination, you get the sneaking suspicion that Tamika's been pulling your leg. Following her lead, you take a turn from Broadway into Fort Ryan Park. Doesn't seem to make sense to you. You think to yourself, there's only one spot between here and the Hudson River. But it can't be, can it? Sure enough, as the stone facade of the cloisters comes into view, Tamika motions at you to keep out of sight. How the hell is this well-known tourist trap a hideout for the Second Inquisition? Wait, isn't this place a tourist attraction? Only during the day. At night, it serves as a staging ground for the Inquisition. My sources are to be trusted, and they usually are. They brought him here for what they call processing. Doubt they'll keep him here for long, though. You want to get to him? It's now or never. If on cue, a group of armed guards walks out of the museum, pushing a gurney with a large steel container on it. As they wheel it out into the open, a truck approaches. The operatives start preparing to load the crate into the vehicle. You scan the area, trying to take a head count. Tamika beats you to it. I count at least 7, probably more inside. We should do this quietly and take them out one by one. Raoul frowns. I say we go in guns blazing. Figuratively speaking, if there are more inside, let them come. The more, the merrier. Tamik's right. We should get in quietly and take them out one by one. Fine, let's do this already, before you two bore me to final death. You split up, aiming to cover as much ground as possible, sticking to the shadows. You advance, keeping track of one other's progress. You hardly even notice as Tamika takes out the first guard. Not a peep out of him. Trying to keep up, Raoul kills the one to your left. He's sloppy, takes his sweet ass time bleeding the guy out. With his dying breath, the man lets out a yelp, drawing the attention of one of his comrades. The guard fast approaching, you ponder your options. Guard walks by, you leap out of the shadows and use the sharpest weapon you have on you, your fangs, to slice his throat open. With his windpipe severed, he lets out a silent gurgle as he expires. Carefully, you lay his body on the. Looking to side, you notice Raoul looking back at you. He nods, looking almost semi-impressed. 3 down, 4 to go. Keep a steady pace, moving across the courtyard, picking off the guards one by one. Tamika does her part. 3 to go. Raoul gets messy again. At least this time, he's quiet. With only 2 of them left, you pick your one for yourself and gesture at one of your fellow ferals to take care of the other. Tamika's quieter, but Raoul is closer. You wave your hand at Tam, pointing at her final target. She nods and starts making her way toward it. Suddenly, by virtue of sheer luck, he turns around just as she's about to pounce. His scream is quickly muffled, but still loud enough for the very last guard to hear. As all 3 of you approach him, the dire reality of the situation hits him like a ton of bricks. Paralyzed with fear, he keeps shifting his aim from you to Tamika to Raoul. He's severely fucked and he knows it. And since you're standing closest to him, you might as well do the honors. You walk over to the quivering mess that mere minutes ago thought himself the toughest of the tough. Before he can react, you slap the gun out of his hands, lean in and smile. Aye. Half a second later, your fangs are already halfway to his windpipe. The blood tastes sour, with a hint of cowardice and regret. Could have gone out with a bang, chose to go out with a gurgle. Oh well. With the SI operatives taken care of, you turn your attention to the container sitting in the middle of the courtyard. Using your combined strength, you make quick work of the steel door. As you walk in, the moonlight from behind you illuminates a twisted figure huddled on the floor. It's hard to believe that the thing lying before you, beaten and tortured within an inch of its own life, is the same creature you fought back at the cemetery. What the fuck is that thing? What happens when you lose it, when you let the beast take over? His lips move silently as if searching for the right words. He looks to you, then turns to his sister as if waiting for a sign. For a moment, Tamika just stands there. He looks down at the scarred one, the once fearful boogeyman, whose very mention could strike terror in the hearts of her tribe, now reduced to a whimpering pile of flesh. Finally, she turns to you with a look of childish innocence mixed with confusion. Then she looks back at the scarred one. You can tell she's lost. Tam, what the hell are you waiting for? Let's kill this thing and get out of here. He's right, Tam. It's what you came here to do. It's what you wanted. Remember? When she turns to you again, there are tears in her eyes. For some reason, it's the most unnerving thing you could think of. Maybe I don't have to. Maybe I need to believe I don't have. What then? Leaving him at the mercy of the Inquisition? Talk about cruelty. Suddenly, the very air around you seems to thicken. You look over to the camera. Tamika, she's not quivering anymore. She walks up to the scarred one. The pitiful creature presses itself into the corner in a desperate and futile attempt to crawl away. Without a word, she grabs the creature by the ears, sinking her claws in the side of his head. She looks him dead in the eye. Her voice is surprisingly warm, almost soothing. You can rest now, brother. In one fluid motion, she twists his neck off his shoulders. The snapping sound is both sickening and satisfying. All right, then. The empty husk of the once fearful beast falls to the floor like a slab of meat. Jesus, Tam, that was. The hell was that? Hopefully, closure. Standing outside the steel container, the 3 of you take a moment to gather your thoughts. You look at one another. at the blood staining your hands, clothes, and faces. In the pale moonlight, it appears black and shiny like a fresh ink stain on a fresh sheet of paper. Without another word, you head back toward the city lights. The journey takes longer than it did in the other direction. With bits and pieces of the Second Inquisition still stuck to your clothes, you decide to play it safe by sticking to the back alleys. Still so cool to see all that, cutting through the darker corners of the city. Tamika stays several steps ahead. Both you and Raoul are quite content to follow her lead. You can tell that these last few nights have taken a toll on her, not necessarily in a bad way. She seems stronger somehow, confident, more in tune with herself. Soon, the awkward silence proves unbearable enough that you're willing to risk making small talk with Raoul. You know, I'm still not sure I understand what happened back there. You wouldn't. It's not something one of your lineage could understand. Our lineage, we have a special relationship. We can either let it control us or become attuned to it. Constant struggle, marked with difficult choices. I think Cham just made one of them. Pondering what you've just heard, the rest of the trip barely registers. To your surprise, you suddenly find yourself back at Prospect. Tamika keeps walking. She strides through the park gate like a queen of old, returning after her victorious conquest. You want to call out to her, but Raoul stops you with a gesture. Not yet. Give her some time to process all this shit. To let you know when she's ready. Hey, you did all right. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're still an asshole, but yeah, thanks. Thanks, Raoul. He smiles at you. Wonders never cease. See you around. That he follows you in his sister's footsteps. Moment, just checking something. Cool. Weird smile creeps onto your face as you meld into the New York night. Alright, only two choices left, and I need to rest, so. Boy. You wake up. Heavy guitar sting that I forgot about. My lord. Alright, let's see. This is not your haven. Cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. Can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. Vibrate slightly. Yep. Welcome in, angry little thing. Nice to have you here. Just finished a quick thing with the creature. As it turns out, it wasn't a werewolf. It was a creature in Rotschreck, a vampire that had fully succumbed to the beast. We just put him out of his misery after he was captured by Second Inquisition. And now I wake up and I'm in a coffin, so that's great. But you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. Oh, this is why I got this. You focus and divert your blood to boost your physical prowess. The way you imagine it, you're going to Superman punch the lid off this thing. You kick it with all your strength, but only make a dent in it. Oh, hey, it's a start. Keep kicking. With each hit, you make the dent bigger. You manage to make a small crack in the very bottom of the container. A bit of light and sound come in. Crackle of a radio, the hum of a guard's engine, a nervous male voice. Oh boy. Oh, great, I got captured. Objects is breaking containment. Please advise. A response you don't quite catch. The brakes of the car and impact jostles your container about. Keep kicking. Keep wrestling out of your prison. Car door opens violently. You hear a gun being cocked. A panicked scream. Operation Compromise! Engaging blank bodies! Shots. A struggle. Silence. The lid comes off. What the? We found you. Tell me we've hit the jackpot. Come on, get up. We gotta get going. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in North Bronx. Woo! The van was crashed into another car. Familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. Three of you jog away toward the line of trees and take shelter under some branches, just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Hide, now! You see Tamika literally go underground, melding with the earth beneath her feet as if she was being swallowed up. You look to D'Angelo, but he's not there. It must be his disappearing trick again. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. You take off before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small overgrown mound beneath an old tree. Understandable. See you in a bit, angry little thing. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago, but doesn't actually reach much further into the park. The helicopter flies on, searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. Close call. We have to get out of here before the SI puts boots on the ground. What are you two doing here? D'Angelo, fill them in on while we walk. Follow me. The SI did a number on you. Your haven got raided and they took you to a ride upstate. They have a facility somewhere out of town, not a place you'd want to be. The thing that surprised me most, though, it was Kaiser who contacted us and let us know. If they hit my haven, then what about Sophie? Is she safe? Yeah, she's been in the cave for years. I'm sure she's doing just fine, sipping gourmet blood out of expensive glass or whatever that fancy broad does. There's our ride. Come on, stay low. The SI might still be around. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby, and your back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief. Till now. Hey, fledgling! This me? No, not really, but I will say this. I'm glad you're here. Well, I'm not overly fond of breaking licks out of covert SI transport, so I consider this an investment. Okay. That was a civilian transport. No convoy, nothing. I expected more resistance. What, you wanted more to sharpen those claws of yours on? Don't worry, that might still happen. Might even regret it. Things are afoot, as the adage goes. Anyways, listen up, Toleron. You're here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in, a one-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania. Really? Really? Hurtville, Pennsylvania. Oh, isn't this guy so cool? I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me. Big. I'm told I was picked up 2 nights ago. Why didn't I wake up earlier? The Inquisition aren't dumb. They broke into your place in the middle of the day and staked you as soon as they saw you. Bam! Paralyzed. Brought you to the cloisters and examined you a bit. If you're walking funny, that's why. Lucky for you, I had an inside man loosen the stake a bit before they packed you in. Wait, you have an inside man? Within the Second Inquisition? Got fur blocking your pretty ears, Stray? Yeah, I have someone on the inside. As much as I'd like it to be the case, I'm probably not the only one. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Toleron. Not that there are tons of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance. The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now shows a short-looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight, beating, using one of your powers. You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it. You're new to this. You didn't know better. Yada yada yada. Fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. Not to you though, right? I always wondered how is it that you can drive a pompously luxurious limo around New York City and not get caught. What's your secret? Body doubles? Decoy cars? Kaiser smiles, going for that anthropomorphic piranha look you saw a few times before. You do know what killed the cat, don't you, Mr. Finch? D'Angelo freezes and scratches his face, looking fiercely at the other Nosferatu. You notice that his hands are shaking. Well, do you? Stop shedding on the upholstery and answer. Or should I use your given name too? Yeah, I know why the cat croaked. You would, wouldn't you? You never seen D'Angelo serve anyone a death stare, quite like the one he's shooting Kaiser now. As much as I enjoyed tempering your overinflated ego, we're nearing our destination, so I think I'll move on. The reason I need you walking and talking, Toleran, is to test your hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So first things first, here. He hands you a phone. The number's already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? It's me, Sophie. Toleran, are you okay? They're fine and dandy. Kaiser, what are you doing on this line? What do you think? It's my phone your protege's using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Toleran, spit it out. Kamika and D'Angelo saved me from the Second Inquisition, Sophie. I only got out because of them. Your companions look at one another knowingly. SI? That's what I feared. Listen, plan. We need to do it. Tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but... Kaiser, are you still listening? Would I tell you if I wasn't? Toleran, call this number from where you visited before we last spoke. We'll come pick you up. He hangs up. And that's that. What is it that you've gotten yourself into? You never did tell me what kind of work you did for Langley. Don't play coy, D'Angelo. You must have figured out at least some of it out. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of time to compare notes after we let our mutual acquaintance continue with it. My intel is worth a damn. Your next stop, Toleran? Right about here. Car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading to the Solids and Stripes, Torque's pool pub. Well, need me to kick you out? What about Tamika and D'Angelo? What about them? They're staying right where they are, and they're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me, but that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram. You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar's screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes. I'm here. What's the plan? We're on our way. Notify Torque if he's not there. We need to talk as soon as possible and move quickly. He hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? No thanks. Bartender nods politely and gets back to his business. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laughed. Ooh, that's a cool-looking customer. Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, Toleron, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. Patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender. I got picked up by the Second Inquisition, angry little thing. Broken out by my friends that were the Nosferatu and the Gangrel, and was told that Kaiser, the Nosferatu, the one that seems to have his fingers in every pudding in the back of a souped up limo, brought me here after the fact to talk with my sire, quote unquote, and to talk to a man named Torque, who I've been bringing up. We're in the bar now. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Toleron. Care to explain? Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Toleron already told you why I'm here. Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Lang, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it. You will like what I have to say. Yeah, I've heard that a line 100 times, but 99 of those ended with somebody getting hurt. That's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. We are wasting time. There is a unique opportunity we should take advantage of. We only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Toleron who is supposed to do the driving, not your servant. Give me one moment. Time just double checking some stuff. There we go. Both serve me, so really it's of little difference. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. Yeah, all the red flags. No kidding. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes. Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. Lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's the only thing I'm going to be throwing. Ooh, I believe this guy might also be a, excuse me, not as well as being an anarch, might also be a Bruja. Sophie, Torque's right. This does sound like a setup. I wouldn't trust you either in this situation. You dare! She slaps you, fast, hard. The sound reverberates in the mostly empty bar. Torque smiles. See, Toleron? That's the cam in a nutshell. You obey them to the letter, or they put you in your place. It's Sophie who's seething. I don't have any more time for this charade. Fine, stay here, both of you. That's what you want to do. What was I thinking, risking my reputation for you, Toleron? I think I just made a big mistake. We'll see. Shots break the front windows, and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out. Bottles break. The TV shatters into pieces. The wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf. Because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you, and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She's like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there? Yeah. Would you kindly show your guests some Hospitality. Sure thing. The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. Same thing happens to the second, the third. You hear the radios go off on the other soldier's shoulders, a panic voice pleading them to wake up. The fourth head pops. The fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Not thinking twice, you stand up and grab the soldier's head in your hands. Before you can react, you twist. The sickening sound of breaking bone is followed by the crumpling of his limp body. You see Torque holding a combat knife in his hand, ready to throw it. He catches your eye. Beat me to it. Langley? Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting's still an item? Yes. I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his wrist and feed the blood to the wounded man. Ah, so he's his ghoul. Drink up, Marty. I'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming. She'll know what to do. Torque? Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Tell her on. Come on. You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late night, not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away the spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. Been used sporadically since. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my tastes, but it's what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon. I hope. So let's begin. You look at Sophie, excited. Finally, you'll learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week. What it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got any proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What is that supposed to mean? Toleron, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard and Baron's regular sharing blood and other bodily rumors are true. Oh, the Anarch head and the head of the Camarilla are bonded together in many ways. Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Yeah, that is a big claim, Angry. Kaiser said something about having plans for me. He wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That is an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. Chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know what I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around a half an hour. Hot damn. I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? So you can see the proof for yourself, so that I can make sure too, so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present to her my ultimatum. Sophie's making a play for becoming the prince. Prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know. The next prince will not look favorably. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you heard, but you're working with them now. So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish? Say you remove Panhard, and I remove Callahan. Then what? Torque, do you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow Ivory Tower to challenge. She or they have engineered the status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line, because it lets them hold on to power that much longer. And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of New York City in no time. Damn, Torque. If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years. Torque, I'm offering you a chance to square things with Callahan, level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre. Why am I here, listening to this? Do I factor into this plan at all? Yes, we will be taking you with us to Ellis Island, both as another set of eyes to witness the Prince and Baron in the act, and as a bit of added security. I don't think Helene or Callahan would dare to lay a finger on me. Will not find me unprepared. No, after all those years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick measuring, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out of the way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievous. Of course I do. Waiting for us by the pier. Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning. Three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. I think I'm going to be made the fall man for this. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York City where the Prince and the Baron can meet, it's Ellis Island. The landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. From what I can tell, from what I hear from people, a lot of New Yorkers don't seem to look too kindly on Ellis Island. Or is it Staten Island? Can't remember. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance. Night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it, a light coming from the window on one of the buildings at the edge of the island. Three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is. Callahan kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrists, both fully clothed. A small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he bursts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. You fucker! You piece of shit! Stop! The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron used to the fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down. Prince, call off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Oh my! Boss Callahan! Kill the bitch, Helene, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna... A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. Ooh. I do know your face. I don't remember from where. So entertaining, truly. Feels almost ashamed to break up this spectacle. But alas... Thomas? Yeah, it's Thomas. Who the fuck is this joker? Ah, yes, I don't think we met, though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and Callahan uses this moment for uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again. Eileen, if you'd be so kind as to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much. Callahan, don't kill him. This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Companion struggles but can't quite break away. I will not be denied, Helene. Not this time. You will do as I command. And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy. Oh, oh. It's all one big thing. He might be the one behind everything. What? Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this spectacle. Going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley, you and your clique. Figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own. But you're always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Toleron? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. I don't know what I'm talking about. Of course you don't. Of course. How could you? Only I knew. And your sire. They're the one who agreed to embrace you after some negotiations. This guy knows who my sire is. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arms has been nearly ripped off his body. Torx breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora. Another actor going off script at the very end? No matter. Let him bring us some amusement now that the production is almost wrapped up. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. Helene, even if we naively assume his nights are numbered, now that he's in the SI's sight, the show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation. Sophie looks at you. How could you, Toleron? I saved you. Ooh, Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face. Langley, Langley, Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you? Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy. Thomas, what? You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough. You never realized the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you aren't even adept at playing the game you do. Toleron, just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece, since you took them in. But who gave you that idea? Return to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard, the woman in red, Sophie, somebody speaking to her, the man in glasses, the man standing before you now. This is cruel. You know what's going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child. They could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps into Sophie's face. Of course, those are not the words you heard, were they? No, you were already gasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out, and you took it, hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Toleron as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fleshly who's just learning the ropes. What is it you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy, the answer is so simple but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability, cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts which simulate conflicts so convincingly, that its users never feel a need to direct their energy toward upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal through the disposable, building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. Hold on, I'm getting one moment. I'm getting a message and I need to answer real quick. Be right back. And I am back, thank you. I just needed to answer a quick message. Alright. Achieving the eternal through the disposable. Building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues. The theatrical snap of his fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something changed in it. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie. Goodbye, Sophie. A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davis, holding garden shears in her hands. You take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. Oh my. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's gone. Damn. Okay. So, got some stuff to deal with. Good lord. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Teleron, your career is moving at a breakneck pace, moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. You killed her! Did I? Adelaide, jealous as ever, has taken a stab at the heart of the matter. My hands, my tongue, and my conscience are clean. Helene, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shh. You're just being jealous, Adelaide. Escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. No, Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. It's my stalker. Your thing, darling. You are left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing right in front of your eyes. Congratulations, you've won this little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again. Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him, the Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My unlife began right here. It began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation. It never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relation. The character's influence over each, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. Things are going really chaotically. Okay. So the Baron and the Prince are bonded to one another, or maybe the Baron is bonded more to the Prince. Keep a status quo of Cold War between the Anarchs and the Camarilla here in New York. And this guy, an unknown, yeah, right, that angry little thing. Good lord, this guy is behind all of it, and I believe this guy might be the guy that was talking to me at the very beginning of the game. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. Once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Get my input wherever needed until it trusted me more. Thomas steps over what's left of Soapy, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate let me look after the city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information. So he was in on this too, I figured. And among many tools in this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rule book. Excuse me. Some people write rule book passages. The others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. You know, I have grown fond of you. You did so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. So Callahan was behind me getting SI picked up. Good lord, this is just in depth. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. Working for you? He uncovers his wrist. So, take my blood, just enough so we can start off the right foot, as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big league, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Tolera? That was it? That was it. That was it? I thought it was leading up to like a second half of the game. Yeah, right? I thought I was gonna get that choice, but no. This can't be the end, can it? That was short. I thought this was gonna be much longer. Right? I feel like I've been teased. Well, that was a lot to take in. Like, I feel like I was only just getting past like the first act or something. That was intense. Yeah, there is a DLC. I'll have to look that up. I don't own it outright, but I'll have to check in on that. Good lord, I thought tonight was going to go on much longer than this. To my awesome friend Cassie for giving me her insight about Vampire's Lord, my first Vampire art play for. Ooh. Well, to the whole Vampire the Masquerade Brazilian community for their incredible support. Not bad. Good lord. Very cool. That can't be just it. That felt like we were just getting into it. Is it gonna kick me back to the front? Okay, Shadows of New York is the next part. I'm gonna have to check that out when I have time. Damn. I feel like I might have done something wrong. I just gathered parts of my coterie up, and then the game just ends. Like a big tease or something. Good lord. Has a lot of ramifications for New York, too. Well, alright, everybody. Let me just get over to here. Whew. Well, I thought that was going to go on a lot longer. My apologies. Yeah, New York is screwed, very much so. Oh, I'm going to have to look more into it. Sorry for the sudden ending, people. I thought there was going to be more. I might have made a wrong decision somewhere. I'll have to check in on it and do my research, but that was very fascinating. And very interesting. I didn't expect it to end so abruptly. I thought it was going to be like, now we're into Act Two, but no, that was very abrupt. All right. Well, thank you guys for popping in. I appreciate it, and maybe I'll be able to stream again soon in the next day or so because that was much shorter than I was expecting. I had like another hour ready to go, but well, we'll see what I can do, and I will check you guys out next time. Thanks for following and watching. Once again, I am Toleron20. I'll be your humble storyteller. I will find a few other games and more of Vampire the Masquerade to work on. I still had a few missions to go on. Yeah, of course, Angry Little Thing. Happy to have you as always. But yeah, we'll check in some point later. Like I always do, I will always be streaming my D&D games every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Range time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, and I will be trying to play some new games. I've got a few ideas of what I want to do. I do have a surprise for you guys for next Tuesday or maybe next Thursday. We will see. Uh, I have an idea for a DLC that came out for a game. I'm gonna be doing a long play of fun variety. I will be getting very into character. So thank you all so much for watching. I will be uploading this to YouTube in the next few days. And of course, it'll be available on my channel for the next week. So see you all later. Bye.